Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Officer Castelli for the record.
You have to sign this, or is it all set?
I signed it already, Your Honor.
Raise your right hand. You swear to affirm the information on the misdemeanor complaint for a Donald Harold Cooper for 1 count of domestic violence is the truth, best knowledge and belief.
I do.
With an offense date of April 20th this year, 28878 Country Lane, Huron Township, Xavier, complainant victim. I've signed the complaint and warrant.
I did.
Okay. State your full name for the record, Mr. Cooper.
Donald Harold Cooper III.
Mr. Cooper, you've read and signed your advice of rights form, correct?
Yes, sir.
You understand those rights, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is an arraignment. I'm not saying you're guilty. I'm entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf. And I'm going to let you know the allegations made against you. They're charging you with 1 count of domestic violence with an alleged offense date April 20th, 2021 at 28878 Country Lane, Xavier Primo as the complainant victim. It alleges that you did make an assault or assault and battery upon Xavier Primo, a resident or former resident of his household in violation of 750.81 paren 2. It's a misdemeanor that if you're found guilty, you could be sentenced to 93 days in jail. Since you don't have an attorney present today, I've entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. And according to case number 21-0329, I've entered that plea of not guilty. I'm going to schedule the matter for a pretrial, and that's going to be on Wednesday, June 2nd of this year, 8:45 a.m. with Judge Oakley. Now, after I've gone through this whole 3/4 of this arraignment, he declined an attorney, correct?
Correct.
No, only for the arraignment.
Yeah. Okay. Andy's in the background saying he did decline the MIDC attorney. And again, I've entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf.
Thank you.
We're at the bond portion of this case. Officer, any comments on bond?
Just the standard and no contact with the victim. That's our main thing.
So you're not requesting a cash bond?
I mean, we do the standard 5,000, 10%, but what you can use your discretion, whatever you need. We don't have any, special circumstances or anything of that nature.
Where does Xavier live, Sergeant?
He lives in the household with me and his mom.
I'm talking to the police officer.
Oh yes. Yep. He does live with the victim.
All right. And you want no contact, can't return to, correct?
Yes. Even unless Xavier can go ahead and leave, or one of them, we don't care as long as they don't have contact.
Well,
one of them leaves.
For now, Mr. Cooper can't return to, be in or around or near 28878 Country Lane. No contact with Xavier Primo, no third party contact. You can't, I'm not going to stop. You're going to listen. No contact with a complainant victim, no third party contact. You can't send a message to a family member or friend. No cell phone, text messaging, or any type of contact. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you need to go to 28878 Country Lane in Huron Township, you're going to make an appointment with the Huron Township Police Department. They'll do what's called a civil standby.
So I can't get my car.
The sergeant that's with you will explain to you how a civil standby works. He's been doing them for a long time. Where do you work, Mr. Cooper?
I'm disabled.
So you're not working, correct?
I am on Social Security
Other than
disability.
this time, when's the last time you were arrested?
About 25 years ago, something like that. 20, almost 30 years ago. I mean,
Let me
I was
ask
in
you
my,
a question. If you get out on bond, and you walk into a restaurant and you see Xavier, what are you going to do?
walk back out, turn around, go away.
Your contact information, has that been given to the court?
We have
Yes.
all.
I think we've concluded this arraignment. Do we agree?
One thing before, Your Honor, there is a discrepancy on his live scan and his driver's license for his date of birth. I made the prosecutor's office aware of that, and they're requesting if we could ask him his date of birth under oath and what his actual date of birth is, because we have two listed, one for a live scan and one with Secretary of State.
Well, Mr. Cooper, officially on the record, what is your date of birth?
January 7th, 1973.
And what does that go with what you have?
Well, this is what the Secretary of State shows, that date of birth, but on his live scan, when he was booked in years ago, it shows November 7th of 73. They have an extra one on it.
Well, if you've ever experienced doing arraignments on the weekends, it's all about who's entering it, and it can be an error. But other than that, for this arraignment purposes, I think we're all set.
Okay.
You agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's been fingerprinted, correct?
Yes, and when we fingerprinted him, it shows the November 7th date of birth.
Well, I asked him during this arraignment, when's the last time you were arrested? So what were you arrested for back then, Mr. Cooper?
It was the last time they said that I broke into my neighbor's house, which I did not. I believe it was Detroit police. I lived on Mitchell.
So that incident occurred in the city of Detroit, correct?
Yes, sir.
See, officer, what I'm talking about? I've lived the bad entries on live scan.
All right, I'm satisfied with you, Your Honor. I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Very good. All right, that wraps up Huron Township's arraignment. Agreed, Andy?
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good morning, Sergeant Kroll. If you could turn your video on, please.
I sure will. Let's see here. Oh, start video. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it'll be just a moment. And then we'll start the arraignment for Blankenship. So just stand by for a moment.
Sure thing.
I'll be right with you, Andy. Give me 1 minute, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a video arraignment for the City of Romulus Police Department of Joseph Lee Blankenship. Mr. Blankenship, you have an attorney present. She's going to put her appearance on the record.
Good morning. Sharon Greer appearing on behalf of Mr. Blankenship. As to the arraignment on the warrant, we will stand mute to the charges and ask the court to enter a not guilty plea.
Mr. Blankenship, you were arraigned by Judge Oakley back in 2019. He entered a not guilty plea. This case was scheduled for many pretrials. You were conspicuous by your absence, but you're here today and you have probably the best attorney in Wayne County representing you. So let's see how this goes.
Thank you, sir.
Ooh, thank you, sir. I feel inadequate this morning, though.
I've entered a plea of not guilty on Mr. Blankenship's behalf. Where to the bond portion of this? Bottom line, where's he been?
The bottom line, Your Honors, he's been struggling for about a year. I talked to him and he's indicated that he hasn't had any further contact with the complainant, which is his wife. They are not divorced. There are no new charges. He was just pulled over while driving, but he's having a hard time with trying to obtain employment. Actually, he was doing the Grubhub, or I believe that's how you say it, Grubhub, at the time that he was stopped in a vehicle that he has had to unfortunately live in for some time as well. But he's indicating that he has a line on some jobs. He's hopeful that he could get a personal bond. He has a phone. He's going to keep the phone on. The address where he gets his mail, he indicated that he can be notified there. So it's not a matter of him not getting notification of any other court dates. And he has indicated that he will Zoom in. He understands now that he must resolve this case, even though he and his wife have come to a mutual understanding about themselves and their relationship.
Well, see, Mr. Blankenship, I told you got the best attorney within 1,000 miles of Detroit. As to your job, I have to just add this. You drive down any road, every place under the sun's hiring. So take a look around.
Yes, sir.
The case number on this case is 19-4605. 19-4605. I'm going to continue the not guilty plea. I'm going to release Mr. Blankenship on a $5,000 personal bond with the condition of no contact with a complainant victim, which that won't be a problem. Your contact information, has that been forwarded to the court?
Yes, I have. I gave all the information to the sergeant and whoever booked me in, so all my stuff is concurrent with you guys.
So Matt, that got to Andy?
Yes, it did. I gave Andy the email for Mr. Blankenship.
You have a cell phone, Mr. Blankenship?
Yes, sir.
We have it.
You have it? Okay.
Yep.
The case is going to be set for a Zoom pretrial date on May 11th of this year, 9:45 a.m. with Judge Martin.
9:45. Okay.
And that wraps up Mr. Blankenship.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.